What's going on, everybody? Give me just a minute here, get some things organized here. Show all utility windows. Bring them all to the front. There we go. Let's see here. What's going on? We got some people here with me already. So first of all, who's all with me? I'm curious to hear what's going on with everybody. Drop me a message. Let me know who's in the chat. I've got this video. I guess this video is public knowledge now. I guess here's the thing. I guess maybe we should start from the top, right? We're all familiar with research. Hey, what's up, Bill? All right. We're all familiar with research chems, right? We're all familiar with peptides. And I feel like, research chems and peptides were something that I first started learning about in 2005. And back then they were super underground, but you could buy them with credit cards. And over time, things have changed. It's developed. And it's become a massive business now, like the gray market research chem sites, the peptide sites. It literally is like a massive industry, and it's beyond just bodybuilding. You know what I mean? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I see a bunch of people are joining me here in the chat. I'm glad to have everybody here. I'm curious to hear, first of all, what you guys think. Like, we've all known that this can't last forever, right? Yeah. So I've gotten some information over the last couple of days. There's some things that I can't specifically talk about, but I do have a video here that Jay Campbell published, and this is a public video, and I haven't watched all of it yet. So I figured we could watch this together. And I guess he's given the lowdown on some like big major changes that are coming. And here's the thing. Let me make some predictions real quick. I feel like Retatrutide isn't even out yet, right? But how many people do you know that are using Reta? Yeah, none of them are getting it from a legit source. I mean, all that stuff, it's patented. So it doesn't surprise me that things are going this way. Let's play the video, though, and see what we've got going on here. And I'm going to keep this short. Let's see. All right. He said his company name at the beginning. Just because we're on YouTube, I want to avoid that. We'll skip to right here. You guys let me know. Can you hear this okay?
Give you guys this answer because all of you deserve to have an answer, and please understand that what this answer that I'm giving you is really supposition and some fact, some based on what we've been told by our attorney, obviously the Honorable Jeff Cohen, and what I've gathered from the marketplace, from the insane amount of messages, texts, and emails that I've received in the last, call it 24 to 48 hours. So what is happening is the federal government, could be Department of Justice, could be the FBI, could be a combination of both of them and the FDA, has decided that RUO, peptide manufacturing and distribution, which is research use only, which obviously includes BioLongevity Labs, Peptide Sciences, Core Peptides, all the major research companies that you guys know and love, are now being told that we cannot sell, manufacture, or distribute injectable research peptides or bioregulators. Anything injectable is now toast.
Huh.
And the reason this is probably primarily twofold. And that twofold answer is, one, Lilly and Novo Nordisk, which are the two biggest GLP-1 pharmaceutical manufacturers, have watched for the last 2.5 to 3 years as many companies, research and compounders actually, have sold both Lilly and Novo's products, which are obviously Retatrutide and, excuse me, not Retatrutide, not yet. Retatrutide is Lilly, but it's
Reta's not even out yet.
and semaglutide, which is Novo's, without a license, without legal permission.
Yeah.
And everybody that's been doing that has gone on a list.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, because look at the amount of companies that there are out there. I'm not talking about just like the research chem stuff. Like, get outside of that and get to the mainstream. There are these clinics that people are getting basically compounded GLPs from, and they're paying an arm and a leg for the stuff too. Like, there's a yeah.
And now,
Tell you who this guy is. So this is a guy who basically has he used to be a TRT guy, and now he is involved in peptides, and he's branded himself as like a peptide guy, and he's turned it into a big business. So I am going to guess that his company is one of the companies that are getting possibly attacked by this. You know, there's basically he's in talks with his lawyers. They're finding out that these companies, what it sounds like they're saying is there's this big crackdown. He's very aware of it. He has one of these companies. That's who this guy is, Miss Michelle. Jay Campbell is his name, by the way.
that Lilly is getting close to approve retatrutide, they are going to shut down the sale, which is obviously purely illegal, manufacturing and distribution of those products, which again is SEMA and TERS, because nobody that's been selling them really ever had a legal right to do it. So if you're a research company and you were selling terzapatide or semaglutide, you never had the right to do it, even though the FDA wasn't enforcing, the non-sale. They were probably sending out letters of cease and desist, etc. But nobody was enforcing anything, and so people got away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Call it, in the last 2.5 years. So now, as soon as they approve Retta, they're going to enforce through DOJ activation and FBI activation and maybe even more.
And I could see that. I could see that because I kind of feel like, all right, well, we kind of let things slide with semaglutide. And well, anyway, that's old news. We've got tirzepatide now. And then all of a sudden, all the research sites and everybody else started selling that. And now they're like, well, hold on a minute. We haven't even gotten retatrutide out to the market yet. Like everybody's already on it, right? So I could kind of, and listen, at the end of the day, I know it's big business and all of that, but like if I was the patent holder of something and everybody else was already selling it, I'd kind of want to get everybody to crack down on it too and get the law behind me. So I could definitely see this. Like, this doesn't surprise me, I guess is what I'm saying,
State regulatory bodies, state auditor, state, task force, whatever, and stop the sale of all of it, SEMA, terzapatide, and of course retatrutide from the RUOs companies that are making it, which is pretty much everyone. And the other second reason, that's number one. The second reason is, I think you guys all know, gals and guys know, that there are so many idiots inside the research peptide space selling God knows what.
Yeah.
Some are legit, but most are not.
Yeah, there is a lot of
fake
unregulated
COAs.
crap going around.
It's just been abused. It's the wild, wild west. And this is an example of government,
Okay. Well, I guess that's all we've got, guys. But I mean, I guess it doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like the days have been numbered since it started. And maybe if it wasn't quite as like big and mainstream as it's become, maybe this whole thing wouldn't have turned into what it has. I remember years ago, when Viagra was still under patent, and they started coming after the research chem sites because they were selling Viagra. Like, they didn't really care about like Novadex, right? Or clomiphene. Like, there's nobody making any money off of that. But Viagra, back before the patent was up, was still big business. And these research sites were selling it for a fraction of, what the pharmaceutical companies were charging for it. And I do remember back then research companies were, and it did feel at that time, I'm going to be honest with you, this kind of has that like the end of the world vibe, you know what I mean? And things probably are going to change as a result of this, but I remember back then it felt like this is the end of research chems and peptides, and things did get more difficult for a while, but then man, things blew up and got even easier to get. I don't know. I guess my point is that I don't know how terrible this really will be. Like if there's a demand, there's going to be a supply, but is it going to be as plentiful and as easy as it is to get in the current market? Man, I probably not, that's probably going to change. It probably will become more difficult, you know. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to turn to the comments here and see what you guys say. And here's the thing. I just wanted to do this last minute. I had found out about this stuff recently, and there wasn't really a lot of public info on it. And I was asked not to talk about it. So I haven't said anything. But now that this video came out, I instantly was like, you know what? Let's freaking get it out there. Let's talk about this. So, yeah. Charlie says, all peptides, anything injectable is done. I mean, it is through that. Somebody else asked, they're like, what about if you're in another country? I don't think you got a problem. You know what I mean? This is, I think, a US problem is what we're talking about. Yeah, I can't blame these companies for wanting to protect their intellectual property. I totally get that too. I mean, if I had a thing, as I was saying, and I tried to put it to market and like everybody else was making buku bucks off of it, I mean, I'd want to try to like, get that under control. They're never going to be able to get it under control though. You know what I mean? It's never going to really happen, but I mean, there are like legit massive businesses. I mean, it's to the point, I'll put it this way. There are peptide and research places that I've seen like sponsoring pro shows and sponsoring pro athletes. These sites were around years back, but I didn't see it to that level, 20 years ago. So I just think that it has become, I don't know, it's just so mainstream. Charlie says, the steroid community should have known that this was coming given our AAS issues. Stockpile on the China supply now. Yeah, no kidding, man. Let me see. What else do we have going on here? Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. Says if there's a demand, there is definitely going to be a source. So, UGLs are UGLs going to stop selling it? Somebody asks. I mean, if a UGL is getting, Primobolan, and they're getting Masteron or, testosterone and Anadrol, I have a feeling they're still going to get, Retta and semaglutide as well. I don't think that that'll be a problem. Everyone buy all the peptides ASAP. Yeah. Yeah. UC Suma, I still believe, still and will forever believe in the power of the market. When demand exists, the market will find a way to supply. Yeah, I have a feeling that it is going to get rough, Envision Colombian cartels moving BPC 157. And yeah, who knows how it's going to affect the other peptides. I mean, I think they're mainly coming after the GLP meds. I think that's where the real money's at, I mean, gosh, who isn't like, who doesn't at least know somebody that's not, using GLPs at this point. It's become just so widespread use. Um, yeah, got some political stuff in here. Just kind of looking through to see what else you guys had to say. Yeah, so like I said, I found out about this the other day, and I really couldn't talk about it, and I was just getting wrapped up. I got blood, sweat, and gear ready for tomorrow, and getting ready to close up for the night. And then I saw this video, and I was like, hey, you know what? I could watch this by myself, or I could hang out with you guys and watch it and share it with all of you. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I hop on really quick and share it with you guys? Once again, that was Jay Campbell. He's part of one of the peptide companies, and he's been on the forefront of of really publicizing this stuff, over the course of the last 2 years or so. He used to be a TRT guy. He was like real focused on the TRT space. I remember seeing him there. Rumor here that DHT's Primo and Mast been cut in China following trade negotiations with US, a dozen or so compounds banned as precursors. Yeah, so we've talked about that South Pacific muscle. We've talked about that on Drugs and Stuff podcast, but we haven't gotten any like real solid information. There was a lot of stuff that went down in China, man. There were some big busts. They did shut down a company that was a couple companies, a couple big producing companies that were making things other than anabolics. And because they were making anabolics, that stuff just got swept up. That said, there are other companies, including UGLs, that have, this is the word I've gotten on that front. There are UGLs that have, they are working to procure the correct licensing to be manufacturers in China so they can manufacture their own supply of product and stuff. So I know that they're already doing that, and they're just working on getting the proper licensing to make that all happen. So yeah, looks like we're all kind of on the same page here, kind of looking through the comments here. Um, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're having a good day. I guess this is just something to keep in mind if you're looking to stay on some Reddit for a while. You might want to keep that in mind. I can't talk about getting that stuff here on YouTube, so I will just zip my mouth about that. I appreciate you guys tuning in for this like last little minute little thing, and I hope you all have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow for Blood, Sweat, and Gear.